Yeah. Last time you and I met was on the set of LA Law, believe it or not.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah. My
Wow.
cousin, Rick Wallace, used to be the producer of that show.
That's your cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, Ricky.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite people.
It was an amazing time because I was still in high school and it was such a cool opportunity to see the set and everything. So welcome back to Under Oath. Today we have writer, director, producer, and actor Corbin Bernsen. Corbin, how are you doing?
I guess I'm a multi-hyphenate. Okay, I'm good, man. I am glorious today. I'm having a great
That's all the thing. I know the hardest thing about doing these jobs is not the acting, it's out there promoting. It's the hundreds of interviews that could just wear you out.
Well, if you don't like something, it's really horrible. But you've kind of, on one level, you've been paid to act, but you've also been paid to promote. Fortunately for the Yeti, it's exactly the opposite. I mean, this is something I'm so proud of, a wonderful film, and just so fits in with everything I'm doing in my life at this point. Truly, the independent spirit, and doing things that really detail the human condition, if you will, and still fit into a nice genre like horror, for people that like the genre.
You know, what I love about what you're doing is you're being able to choose what you want to do. You're now producing your own films and television shows. You're creating more than just doing somebody else's work, which is it's great. But being on the other end, I'm sure just has so much different emotions attached to it.
Yeah, it does. I'll tell you what it is when you believe in something, as I do with this independent pilot that I created called Woodstockers, that hopefully you'll hear more about in the future. Um, it seems to be doing well and tracking. Man, my son directed it, and he helped me out with it. But he's got his own stuff going on. You're kind of on your own. You're in a lifeboat with one oar, and man, if you put that oar down, you're just going to drift. And it really, the independent spirit is really meant for younger people, because you just got to have a lot of it. You got to wake
Yeah.
up every morning and say, I'm just going to push the rock 2 feet further up the hill. And, at some point, hopefully I'll reach the top. But I wake up for the fight. I wake up for the pieces of the puzzle to come together, and I enjoy it.
Cinema has changed so much. I mean, shots are so fast, more quick cuts. The differences are huge. And, now your son's in the business and you're going, can you give him advice? Does he take advice, or is he like, you try to stay away from that?
It's funny. He will listen to advice. He won't take it. And then behind my back, he'll take it. When we were working on this project together, one thing we were working on, I kept saying, I think you really need this shot. And he goes, I don't need that, Dad. We don't get to do it. We don't need that. That's you guys wanting a ton of shots and whatever. We don't do that. And somehow within the next 5 minutes, because he's talked to the DP or somebody, he says, okay, we're going to do that shot. We're going to do it a little differently, but we're going to do that shot. And so he listens. I think more than that, he's seeing a guy, his father at 71, not sitting his ass on a golf course and he sees me out there trying. I think he appreciates that. And, he's in LA right now. He bought his first home and he's fixing it up, just like my wife and I have been doing for years. And so, but he's also knows so much more about film than I do. I mean, if like the Yeti, this wonderful film that we're talking about here, he'll know every film that those guys must have had in mind when they came up with it. He's a film historian, more than a buff. I mean, he just knows everything. So, but it's, I'll tell you something, to be in the indie world, which I love. By the way, I've been going to New York. I go see now off-Broadway shows.
Nice.
Off-Broadway shows. And I'll tell you, there's an indie theater movement that I didn't really know about.
Yeah.
A little, not even 99-seat theaters. I went to an office building to the 9th floor and saw one of the most incredible productions of a little show. And I thought, like, wow, this is great. So I'm an indie guy. And, I'm not sure if that's for lack of not having become an A+ movie star,
I mean,
or
come
I
on.
just really dig it, or it all happens for a reason. But I'm happy.
Well, that's not really fair. I mean, you're like the Michael Caine of American actors. You've been in everything. I mean, I turn around, there you are again. I'm going, and I
I'm
love seeing you. That's
I'm
amazing.
very look right now. I'm in three incredible shows. The Friends and Neighbors. There's a show on NBC that doesn't get talked much about that called The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins.
Yep.
And I just started doing The Lincoln Lawyer. So yeah, no, I'm working. I'm working, but I'm sort of having to hop around a bit. So there's a part of me that would love to be. Part of me loves hopping around, exploring, meeting all these new groups. There's also a part that's having done series. It's nothing like being with a family and doing your, you know, over and over and over and repeat. A little less airplane flying and hotel nights, but
It's hard because when you get to do what you love, it's work, but it's not work. It doesn't kill you. It makes you're
no,
happy at the end of the day and you feel grateful for it.
yeah, no, and I'll tell you something. When I do a day's work and I can walk away, I never will say I nailed it or I got it. I knew, but I know when I walk away and know that I've left nothing on the table and I've, really done it. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Hey, listen,
Uh,
I'm just grateful to be talking to you.
yeah,
You've been
yeah, I
so
don't
much a
know.
part of my life. Shake it around. We got great tech. We can fix it.
All right. Uh, it's popping up here. This is a call regarding a personal financial matter.
No, you need to get there's a piece of software called Cloak. You've got to
Please tell
download.
me because I can't get one more offer for a loan.
No, that's what I mean. I had to get this piece of software that blocks all the phone calls. I can't tell you how many people tell me I need to just sign my loan. 250,000, 80,000.
What is that? We've approved your loan. We've
Yeah,
approved
no.
your loan.
Super scam. Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
know. No, I know it is, but it's, and
You're
it's,
like, "Oh, I didn't file anything." That's what
no,
you
right.
yeah.
Um, okay. I'm going to block that person. I don't
And
want
here's the
I get
thing.
more. Or you know what? I was thinking, here's a really wonderful movie. I was thinking like, so you keep getting these calls and you find out you got some terminal disease, right? And you start going like, I'll take your loan. I'll take your loan. I'll take your loan. If you didn't have any family, imagine somebody who has no family and says, I'm going to take all the loans they
Yep.
want to give me now and go give away the money, do things you wanted to do. Uh, and of course, you find out the doctor made a mistake. And now
Joe versus the volcano.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I love about this? My mother called me last night and I told her I was interviewing you and she was a huge fan of Young and the Restless. So she watched your mother for years and she said, "Make sure to tell him," and I've never done this. "Make sure to tell him how much I loved his mother in Young and the Restless."
That's great. I was telling somebody earlier that I miss her. I mean, I miss her like anybody would
Yeah.
miss their mom. But there's just so much I like because I'm doing the thing that she was doing. So much I just want to share with her right now. You know. Uh, but then again, I know she's there because I got this little series I told you I created. It's at a festival coming up, and the air date that we get to show it is on May 8th, which is the day she died. And I thought, like, oh, she's up there organizing
Oh
stuff.
yeah. It's all
I'll be thinking
connected.
about her today. Um, and there's I don't know, the older I get, maybe you just want to lean into believing a little bit more of a world that exists that we're not so tuned into. But I look at that and I go, okay, that's interesting. May 8th, right? Okay, that makes sense. So I do get to share it with her, which is my point.
There you
I
go.
share that day with her, but I miss her. She guided me. She's, so many times I just want to say thank you. I also want to strangle her a little bit because she did tell me, and I was raised as Cherokee. This is side stories. Um, she was always we'd come from Cherokee Indian. So I was like, I named my company Team Cherokee. We're Cherokee. I look at my nose and I go like Cherokee. So and everything. And I go to New Mexico a lot. I sort of that feels my spirituality and
Yeah.
all that. And my son does one of the 23andMe's or
Oh,
something. Back one day, he goes, Dad, I got some really bad
oh my
news.
God.
They can't, no trace of Cherokee, but you're Ashkenazi Jew. And we're like, okay, it's a good trade. I'm all right with that. And I said, Einstein, I'm in good company. It still
There
works.
you
But
go.
the whole Cherokee thing was just blown out the window. And I still didn't believe it until I went to the Cherokee Nation to see if I could work with
Yep.
them on film because they've got a whole film thing going on in Oklahoma. And the first thing they said is, I doubt that you're Cherokee. I said, I'm Cherokee. My mother told me I'm Cherokee.
There you go.
And and within a day they came. I said, "You're not Cherokee." So there's times I want to go, "What?" But
Yep.
well,
Yep. Parents tell you some stuff. How many of your dogs died and went to farms? I mean,
yeah, right.
you got to just go with it. I was actually at Comic-Con I think it was like about 15 years ago, and one of the producers of Psych came up to me, and he told me he was one of the writers, producers, and everything else like that. I said, I love your show, but there's a huge flaw. And he said to me, what was that? I said, well, Corbin plays his character, and it was like the first or second season, and you made him the villain. In the first couple seasons, you're the villain. I said, a father is proud of his son. He taught him how to do all this stuff. Can't he just from a distance smile every once in a while, something that his son did? And he looked at me, he goes, that's a good idea. And like at the end of the season, there's a scene where you look back after he saw this murder and you kind of like gave him the nod. And I felt like they needed to develop your character into that. And it wound up by the time it moved that way.
It did go that way. It's funny when you're developing a TV series, you've got to spend a lot of landscape time making sure everybody knows who everybody is. And if I'm the antagonist to Sean, you can't show too much I'm proud of you at the beginning. And
Yeah.
I would dare say even a season. There's one of my favorite episodes of that show was where I give him my Swiss Army knife and I kind of hand it over. And I always played it a little bit where I knew Henry was proud of Sean, but I could not show it to him because he's such a screw up that if I tell him that, he'll run with it. So I always had to hold back. And, and I think that's why it never quite got too villainous.
No.
There was always a little bit of, you could detect Henry might be a little bit proud, but that was a great note. And we did get there, eventually. But if we were to go back now 20 years later and do another episode of it, I don't think you'd still see me patting him on the back. I would be my own father. I have a brother, and he is a wonderful athlete and great in school. And I was always the guy who's trying really hard. But my father would throw accolades and accolades on my brother, younger brother. By the time I got to LA Law, where he was very proud, his reaction was like, "Is that all? Now what are you going to do from this?" And it was like, "Dad, I'm here. I'm having it. I'm doing it." And he never shared too much. I know he was proud of me, but he would never really show it. And I don't know if it wasn't to just keep me on my feet, on my toes.
Fathers and sons. The hard thing is we can't be friends. We're not friends. We got to teach you to survive without us.
Sons. That drives me nuts.
I know it's
I want to
hard.
be friends with my sons. I want to be friends so badly, and I know I can't. And I know they think I'm goofy, and I know. And the hard dynamics. I have 4 sons and I have a wonderful wife. Boys love their mothers.
Oh yeah.
They love their mother, but their dad, it's just like, oh God, man, it's a struggle, but there ain't nothing like it.
Nope.
I'm proud of my boys. They don't have to be proud of me, but you know what?
We're not home team. Moms are home team. We're the ones who we got to deliver the bad news. We got to be, even when you succeed, we got to go, okay, I know you succeeded, but there could be bad stuff. I mean,
right.
It's preparation, that's just what it is. Now, you had mentioned that you had seen some independent theater. Now, I've seen everything in your credentials. How badly, if I give you a choice between a Tony or an Emmy, which one would you be more proud of?
Tony.
Oof. Yeah, that's the deal, right?
Well, no, you know what it is? It's a little part of the aspirational part of me. Emmy would be great. First of all, I don't get award. I got nominated for 2 Emmys with LA Law and Golden Globes and all that. I didn't win. I don't win stuff. I didn't win sports things. In college, in high school football, we won our division, our league, and I got the guy who tries 110% award that was made up by our coach. Um, I don't win stuff. And it's part of what drives me. But there's something about the Tony only means that I get to go and do theater, which I long to do. And after all these years, I don't know my way back in, but it might be through independent theater. Not, I'd love to go do you feel like you're an actor. You haven't really an actor if you haven't done Broadway. I've done theater, but I haven't done. But that's a hard nut to crack. If you're on a big TV show now, you can find your way in. If you're the lead, they just want to put an ass in a seat. But independent theater, I'm very interested in, both in writing and performing. So who knows, God, give me another 20, I can get it all in.
Well, this is the selfless question. I always ask this. My daughter is 20 years old. She's in a theater program. And I always ask people on your level, what do you think the most important thing that you can do to succeed as an actor?
Train. My mother, going back to my mom, train. Because it is a life, and I don't care how big you are, with the exception of maybe Tom Cruise, who will have his day when he's 75 years old and he ain't doing everything he can do. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be highs and lows. And it's, a normal career is kind of this trajectory that gets bigger, and you retire. And you own the end of it. With our career, it's up and down. It's up. I'm here. I'm 71. I'm doing all these things right now. I could get a big series. I could get a big movie. I can get an Academy Award tomorrow. And then I could be nobody again, and the training, it just keeps teaching you the appreciation for that thing you do. It just keeps you just appreciate what you do, and you learn to love the craft. So even if I'm doing an improvisation, even talking to you, I would find this exciting. Just talking about what we do. Am I performing? We both are a little bit.
A little bit.
But I enjoy it and I appreciate it because is this an Academy Award movie you and I are doing? No, we're doing but I appreciate it because of my knowledge of all the pieces that go into it. So, or that led us, you and I, to this moment.
Well, with about 45 seconds left, I want to ask you, the Yeti, where is it going to be streaming? Because most people, I love movies, I go to movies, but a lot of people, sitting there, they'd rather see it on TV. So where are they going to be able to see the Yeti next?
I guess all platforms. Okay. I guess if you Google it, you'll be able to find. I don't know every platform it's on. These days, it's it's out everywhere. I mean, you can go pretty much get everything, whether you're willing to pay for it or not, or part of a streaming service. But it's available. And these days it just means, like me as an actor, it's available.
And where can I go to find your next projects and everything else like that?
Well, if you go look at IMDb, you'll see stuff that's coming up. And just keep your ear out for a thing called Woodstockers. Two guys who went to Woodstock and never left. Me and Stephen Tobolowsky. And hopefully I can keep pushing that rock up the hill.
Well, hey, it was great talking to you, and can't tell you, keep killing it so I can keep seeing you.
You got it, brother.
Thank you.
All right, say hi to Rick for me.
You got it.